So, you have your friends together, your dice in hand, and you all gather around the table. You spent forever working on your character's backstory. You know, the Marshmallow Men need a reason their sweet prince was ousted. So you sit down, and the DM cracks open their screen, and that excited wave of anticipation hits you. The DM said they had something special in store for your highness. They pass out magical items to each party member, everyone thrilled with their loot. Turning to you with great gusto, the DM explains, and you get, like, this sick sword. It's a +1 magical tree root. You like touching grass or whatever, right? No, I want some cool weaponry to kick some ass's butt. So, the somewhat smart people here at Rolling Deep found some cool weaponry for your D&D campaign. I love D&D, but even I miss out on some of the new official source material from time to time. But there's some good stuff tucked away in the 5th edition's original releases that you honestly may have glazed over. But it's hard to glaze over our first item from the Dungeon Master's Guide, because if you do, you might end up with a new sworn enemy. The Oath Bow in D&D 5e has quite a unique gimmick. It has Bluetooth! No, but let's say you're in combat and you utter the elvish command, "Swift death to those who have wronged me." It'll whisper back, "Swift death to my enemies." From that point on, your target is now officially your sworn enemy for the next week in game time or until they die. This translates to you having so many advantages. You have advantage on range attacks with the Oath Bow, no disadvantage if shot at long range. Oh, and if the enemy is hidden behind cover, not anymore, as your attack ignores their cover entirely. And when your barrage of arrows land a hit on your poor target, they take an extra 3d6 of damage. Absolutely game-changing at lower levels of play. It isn't all about bounty hunting goodness, however, because the Oath Bow wants you to be committed to your craft. A la Predator. You have disadvantage on attack rolls with every other weapon until your sworn enemy is killed. If you're quick, quiet, and discreet, this weapon will take your assassin game to a whole different level. Give this to one of your ranger friends. They need it the most. Our healers out there might need something else. People in online games who play healer I've met tend to be a little bit more timid and care more about their positioning than the average DPS. In D&D, our healers need all the help they can get to create space between them and the enemies. I mean, someone has to heal our rogue after the failed backstabbing of the evil puppet president of the S'more-men. Glory to our marshmallows. And one of the best ways to create space without using the healer's precious spell slots is offloading that onto items. Also from the DM's guide, the Mace of Terror is going to haunt your enemy's nightmares. The mace contains 3 charges of a Wave of Terror. No, not when someone waves back at you and you wave back at them, but they were actually waving at the person behind you. No. These waves of terror send enemies within 30 feet of you to flee in fear. Daily recharges are a plus, so you don't have to plunder for souls. Just take a quick nap with this eternally soul-wrenching mace tucked in nice and tight. This item requires attunement, just like the Oath Bow. For this next item, I wanted to present one that was more about flavor than pure power. And I was going to go on for a whole minute about this gem I found from Xanthar's Guide to Everything called the Staff of Flowers, which would grant the users 10 daily daisy charges, just to plant wherever you want. Pop, pop, pop. But alas, a different staff. In Xanthar's, right above the Staff of Flowers, lies the true prize, the Staff of Bird Calls. And this is what really needs your attention and full energy here, Devotion. Sure. You can try to mimic a raven's caw or a goose. What if you need to do it without moving your lips? That's a common scenario, right? Well, the Staff of Bird Calls is honestly a great tool for forest-based campaigns. You can more easily attract prey, or predators, but the real use cases could be for distance communication with your party, or, distracting enemies. Like I said, it doesn't inherently make the basic staff better, but more useful. You never know if your foe has an inherent fear of chicken box. If you want a weapon that suits your inner druid, I have good news for you. Instead of farming potatoes in the moonlight, farm enemy heads with this moon sickle. We find this gem deep in the depths of Tasha's cauldron of everything. Its rarity is up to the DM's discretion, but it seems like the type of weapon that grows in strength in tandem with the user. This magical sickle gets a bonus to not just attack rolls, but to damage, and it also increases your spell attack DC. Boom, triple threat for all you druids out there, baby. It also technically boosts ranger spell attack DC as well, but we already gave them a cool bow earlier. This item also functions as a spellcasting focus for the druid and ranger. Another reason to keep this weapon equipped when taking a late night walk. Based on the name, you would assume it glows, but no. Your midnight murder rampages will have to be in natural moonlight or utter darkness. Okay, alright, but what about our shield masters in the chat? A barbarian and a fighter can/will use anything to damage, so in the right circumstance, your shield is your weapon. So I'm going to include one here that you could whip out when your sword breaks. Pop, pop. Coming to you from the most unlikely of sources, Pinterest. User Master Knight Ether posted an amazing collection of homebrew content, and it's here where I found the Shield of Rock. Plucked straight from the source, this shield is hard as stone, but it's light as a feather, dark and daunting. The main draw of this shield is its ability Featherfall. I know I just said like 2 sentences ago that I was going to give you a shield for fighting. The main draw of this shield is its Featherfall ability, allowing your fighter to descend and pursue your targets without taking mass amounts of damage. And when they do decide just to yeet it off a cliff after some shiny things, they can use the shield's elemental origin ability to grant them temporary flight for an hour once per day. This is a homebrew item, so feel free to modify as necessary if you feel this to be too powerful. So maybe I was a bit misleading, as this item isn't going to help you deal more damage per se. However, it does go with our theme of increasing player mobility through their weapons. Bring it on, I have my shield. Flap, flap. Flap so hard the green screen broke. On that last item, a rock is a big bird, and the shield looks like a feather. Whoa. These weapons are definitely going to pack a punch, or at least be more interesting than a generically labeled sword. I wish my jokes didn't make people run in fear like our featured Mace of Terror, but whatever. I'll just keep subjecting randos on Roll20 to it. Seriously though, consider giving some of these items a try for your players, or maybe request your DM to use them. It doesn't hurt to ask, you know, unless the Oathbow doesn't like your question. Join us here for more videos on Rolling Deep. Feel free to catch us on Instagram and Twitter, subscribe here on YouTube, and try to catch us live on Reddit, Twitch, or YouTube. Have a good session and keep on rolling.